सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। Hari Om, salutations to all. So the sixth canto of Bhagavad Puran we are seeing. And here we saw that Parikshit Raja asks a question about how is it that a person can avoid going to hell and suffer those punishments and torments which were described in the previous chapter, where 28 levels of hell are described, that they were described. So Shukdev Ji Maharaj said that if a person does atonement for the sins that one has committed while living, and also does those atonements as per the scriptural injunctions in a proper way, then the person can be, those papa karmas get destroyed, then the person doesn't go to hell. But if one does not do this, so there is no atonement. And see, atonement also, when it is done with the attitude that I have done a mistake, I have done a sin, and I want to not commit that sin again, and I want to also eradicate the negative consequences which will come out of that sin. So with that genuine repentance, one does the atonement. If one does not have that bhavana, one is like, when one knows that, okay, there is one insulin injection available, I will take that extra, and so I can eat one more sweet. Then it makes no difference actually. The person's sins will not get removed, because the atonement is not done with the bhavana of not repeating the sin. It is done as a, because there is an atonement available, let me do this sin, I will finish, and then I will do the atonement. Then it will not work. So he says here that if the person doesn't do the atonement, doesn't do it with the right feeling, doesn't do with the scriptural injunction, as per the scriptural injunction, then that person will definitely go to hell and will have to go through various negative consequences of that karma. So what should one do? Tasmat puraiva ashviha papa nishkritau yateta. While the body is here, while one is alive, before death, one should ensure that these atonements are done. And he also gives this example. Bhishak chikitseta rujam nidana with. So he says here that what type of atonement should be done? Just like the doctor will analyze what is the disease, what are the symptoms, what kind of treatment one should give, and accordingly will give a treatment. In that way, the scripture will give, and the knowledgeable people one has to go to and ask them, okay, if this is what I have done, then what should be done as the atonement. So after weighing the gravity and the lightness of the crime, just as a physician who knows the cause of maladies would adopt prompt remedies before it is too late. Now Parikshit Raja says that, man does sins, then man does atonement also. But that sinful tendency doesn't go many times, and it again makes that person do the wrong. So what is the use of atonement? It is useless. Like, it is like the Gaja Snana. So he gives that example here. And he says that whatever one has seen, heard, based on that, those tendencies are there. Yat papam janan api atmano ahitam, knowing that it is not good for me. Karoti bhuya vivashaha, because one is helpless because of the past vasanas, karma. Again, one is doing this same sin once again. So he says, then what is the use of this atonement? One side he is absolved from the sin, again he does the same thing. Kvachin nivartate abhadrat and uh, kvachit charati tat punaha. On one hand, you are freed from certain negative consequences. On the other hand, again one is doing it. So he says, is all prayaschittam ato apartham manye kunjara shauchavat. It's like the elephant uh, taking the bath, becomes very clean and comes out, and again takes the mud, again rolls in the mud or takes the mud and sprinkles on oneself. So what is the use of all the bath? So what happens now? Papa karma which is created, which is done, will create a papa karma phala. Atonement will help us to deal with the karma phala. Sometimes the karma phala will get destroyed completely by the type of atonement, how severe it is and how intense it is, with right feeling, all that. Sometimes it will empower that person to deal with that karmic consequences with dignity and bear the pain here and now and let it go. But this tendency to repeat this again, how will that go? So Shukdev ji now says that karmana karma nirharo, this is 11th shloka. Shri Shuka Uvacha, Karmana Karma Nirharo Nahyantika Ishyate Avidvat Adhikaritvat Prayaschittam Vimarshanam. So what happens? The action which is done, it will no doubt remove the negative karma. Atonement, which is the karma which is done, will remove certain negative karmas. But why is the human being again prompted to do? Because the root cause is not removed. And that root cause is avidya. And that's why he says here, avidvat. So, the ignorant, as long as avidya remains, this feeling that I am Mr. So and so will remain, and then one will act out of attachment, aversion, raga, dvesha, and it will create papa karma, even it will create punya karma. So, one can deal with the karma, one can deal with the karma phala, but the root cause avidya is still there. So if one wants a cure proper, then what has to be done? Self-knowledge alone is the cure for it. One has to gain the knowledge of the truth that I am not this body, mind, intellect, I am infinite consciousness. So now, if that has been not known, then that person will continue. So the example now he gives is, he says that a disease, if you have to cure, then what you should do? If a person eats only wholesome food, practices self-control, discipline, then that food itself will become the medicine. One doesn't even need separate medicine. I can take some medicines for a certain headache, let us say. For some time that headache will go away, relief I will have. Again, after some time that headache comes. Now, if I don't find the root cause of it, Now, like how today people say lifestyle changes one has to make. So if those lifestyle changes are not made, if one does not eat properly, the right quantity, quality, right time, doesn't take care of foods which don't suit a person, one should not eat. One should sleep properly, exercise properly. If all that lifestyle change is done properly, then there is a deeper solution. So there is a cure. Otherwise, one is handling only the symptoms. So that example he gives, that in that same way, a person who is practicing certain self-control, doing certain atonement, that person, no doubt the mind will get purified. But with that purified mind, what should one do? One should attain self-knowledge. Evam niyama krid rajan shanai kshemaya kalpate. That person becomes eligible for kshema. Kshema here means mukti, freedom. Then he says tapasa brahmacharyena shamena damena cha tyagena satya shauchabhyam yamena niyamena cha. Dehavag buddhijam dhiraha dharmagnya shraddhayanvitaha. They are knowers of dharma, they are having faith, they do tapasya, they live in brahmacharya, they have sense control, mind control, tyaga, they follow honesty, cleanliness, yama, niyama. All this they will follow. And what happens? Because of all this, they are able to get rid of even the greatest sin. Mahad api Kshipantyagam, agham mahadapi. Agham means sin. Greatest of sins also, they are able to let go. Example is Venu Gulmam Ivanalaha. Like the bamboo, this whole thicket of bamboos, once fire is lit, this whole thing will get destroyed. So no doubt with the right living, with the right values, etc., what happens? One will be able to destroy all these, the negative sins. Just a minute. So, just like a thicket of bamboos, one lights a fire to it, then the whole thing will get destroyed. In that way, those who live with all these values, what are given here, he says here that even the greatest of sins they can remove. Because through this, what will happen? The mind will get purified. One will seek knowledge of the self and realize the truth. Now, the example that he has given here is also having a certain implication, that what happens with the bamboo when we burn only the top part, meaning the bamboo which grows, that is destroyed. The roots are still below. And over a period of time when it rains, etc., those roots, they will start producing offshoots. Which is to say that no matter how many values one may live, if one doesn't get self-knowledge, the ultimate freedom will not happen. So that is as far as Brahma Jnana is concerned. And the same thing is applied now for bhakti. Because for majority, bhakti is more easier. Brahmagyan, continuously contemplating on self, I am not the karta, I am infinite consciousness, is not very easy, it is subtle. So he says here now that na tatha hi aghavan rajan puyate tapa adibhihi यथा कृष्णार्पित प्राणः तत्पुरुष निषेवया. Now that is one very important line. Krishnarpita pranaha tat purusha nishevaya. That is an important line. So it means that very few are such rare people. What they do, they are those who have completely surrendered to Krishna Bhagavan. They destroy their sins completely by the full surrender to Bhagavan. So that root is ignorance. All the sadhanas that one is doing will burn out the bamboo, meaning they can burn out the sin, but the root is still there, that is ignorance. A hint is given, so self knowledge if one can attain, that is great. But as I said, this chapter is about dhyan, archana, and nama japa. So bhakti pradhan sadhanas. And so here the focus is on devotion, on Krishna Bhagavan. And so here he says that one method is self-knowledge, there's no doubt, unless this avidya goes, this will not work. And to remove this avidya, one method is nididhyasan on Atma. Other method is bhakti marg, where fully one surrenders completely. So he says that the root will get destroyed, which is in the form of ignorance, because of complete surrender. So through devotion, just like the sun will destroy the fog, even a little bit of sun that comes out, fog will become clear. So this is one important aspect, Krishnarpita pranaha. So Krishnarpita prana means what? Not that we have to die, give up my prana. Krishna arpita prana, meaning with every single breath one chants Bhagavan's name. With every single breath, whatever of karma one is doing, one does with the bhavana, this is for Bhagavan. Whether it is talking, eating, bathing, working, anything, even spiritual sadhana, everything. How in the Gita Bhagavan says, Yat karoshi, yad ashnasi, yad juhosi, dadasi, yat tapasyasi kaunteya, tat kurushva madarpanam. So whatever you do, yad karoshi, yad ashnasi, whatever you eat, yad juhoshi, whatever rituals you are doing, yajna you are doing, tadasi, whatever dan you are doing, yad tapasyasi, whatever tapasya you are doing, all that, what should be done? Bhagavan says, Tat Kurushva Madarpanam. You dedicate that to me. Even what we say generally, Kayena vacha manasendriya irva buddhyatmana va prakrite svabhavat karomi yadyat sakalam parasmai narayanayeti samarpayami. So we say all this with body, mind, speech, knowingly, unknowingly, whatever I am doing, all that I offer to you, Bhagavan. That complete surrender of the individuality, when that happens, ignorance is destroyed and all those tendencies which are there with it, which make a person repeatedly sin again and again, those will also get destroyed. And that's why this is a very important aspect. Yatha Krishna arpita pranaha tat purusha nishevaya. And by serving that Lord continuously, they will destroy the sins. Like the sun destroys the mist in its entirety. The analogy is Agham dhunvanti kats niena niharamiva bhaskaraha. Nihara is that fog. Bhaskara is the sun. And here he says, one step extra, he says that bhakti of Bhagavan is so much more powerful that even all this tapasya, brahmacharya, shama, dama, etc. will not purify a person as much as the bhakti will do. That's the line. Na tatha yaghavan rajan puyate tapa adibihi. Puyate means purifies. So please remember that it does not mean that one should not do tapasya, live in brahmacharya or shama, dama, all that which is said here, no? Brahmacharya, tyaga, satya. It's not that one should not live all these. The point of this is, I may do all that, but I don't surrender to Krishna or I don't surrender to Bhagwan, then the effect of that will be limited. In fact, sometimes one does all this and then the ego increases instead of decreasing. One feels I am more spiritual, I am more sattvic. Look at these people, they are wasting their time. They don't even know what is bhakti, and bichare, I have reached a certain level. Now, if Sharanagati is not there, the spiritual sadhana will bring a sattvic ahankar. The moment one comes into ahankar, one will again land up doing some sin. So we should ask that I am doing all these sadhanas, tapasya, brahmacharya, satya, shaucha, yama, niyama, everything, whatever I am doing, is there a basis of surrender to Bhagwan? I am doing it for pleasing Bhagwan. I am doing it out of love for Bhagwan. I am doing it out of gratitude to Bhagwan. I don't want to boost my ego. See, at one level, sakama karma is done and one wants blessings, child, money, power, progeny, freedom from disease, poverty, so many things. One asks Bhagwan. But as we go deeper, then slowly these will fall off. And one does the sadhana for love of Bhagwan. And ultimately to completely surrender the individuality itself. So one should ask that question and see if this Krishna Arpita Pranaha, that happens. And so if one has dedicated the life to Sri Krishna and Tat Purusha Nishevaya, Tat Purusha means his devotees, service of the devotees of Bhagwan. Please remember, Krishna is given here. It can be anyone. It can be Shiva, Durga, Devi, Hanuman, whoever it may be. The point is, do I surrender to Bhagwan? Do I serve the devotees of Bhagwan with genuine surrender and selflessness? Why serve the devotees of Bhagwan? That is the means to please Bhagwan. If somebody takes care of, suppose a parent has to go out somewhere and the parent gives the neighbor the responsibility, can you please take care of my child? I will go and come back. Now, if the neighbor takes care of the child, the parent is so happy with that neighbor saying, oh, thank you so much, you are such a lovely person. That way, if somebody brings a chocolate, somebody gives something nice to the child and the child feels so happy, then the parent also feels so thrilled. That way, Bhagwan is very happy when the devotees are served. And one important point there is, how do we serve devotees? We serve the devotees with the bhav that Bhagwan is in their heart. So we don't have the ahankar, ki, why should I serve you? You are also like me. What is the difference between you and me? That is then individuality. Then the ego has come in. If one is serving with the attitude that I am serving Bhagwan only who is in this form, with that humility, with that devotion, then my individuality is surrendered. So many times our ego comes into play in service only. And service is supposed to be reducing the ego. But conflicts, clashes, because I'm not seeing the divinity, I'm not focusing on the purpose, that my purpose here is to serve to please Bhagwan, serve to purify the mind, serve to expand and see oneness. If remaining within the shell, if one is serving, then one will operate out of rag and dvesh. The idea is not to operate out of rag and dvesh. Our idea is to operate out of bhakti, out of sharanagati, out of feeling of oneness. So that's why he says here that all these sadhanas are good, but if surrender is not there, these sadhanas are not sufficient. The ego will still remain, and that will make a person commit sin. So the glory of bhakti over karma as well as jnana is given here in this context. So that we follow. By itself, that karma which is done, atonement, is not sufficient to prevent that person from again committing the sin. Then what to do? The root cause has to be eliminated. That is avidya. So avidya will go through knowledge. And knowledge now not many will be able to follow. So it is meant for few. Karma by itself is not sufficient to grant ultimate mukti and not repeat the sin. Then what should be done? Bhakti has to be done. If I surrender to Bhagwan, how will this happen? That I don't commit sin again. Because when I surrender to Bhagwan, what will I do? Let thy will be done, not mine. Bhagwan, whatever Bhagwan loves, I will do according to that. Bhagwan loves dharma. Bhagwan doesn't love adharma. So if the surrender has happened, then feeling is there. For that person, Bhagwan is real. For that person, there is a bond with Bhagwan. Then surrender has happened. Wants to do things that please Bhagwan. And that Bhagwan who is outside, worshipped in through the form, is the same Lord I am worshipping through my actions in various roles. Is the same Lord who is in my heart, who will tell me this is right, this is wrong, don't do this, do this. So if I have surrendered, I will not listen to the ego, I will listen to the voice of the Lord, Bhagwan's voice, the voice of conscience, the voice which is pure intellect and the sharp intellect and pure mind, that voice. I will listen. Then the sin will not happen. Because the individuality has gone. Bhagwan alone is, I am an instrument, I am not the karta, and Bhagwan is doing through me. So my duty is maintain this instrument well. And when surrender happens completely, that I am zero, that is what Vedanta is anyway saying. That this whole ego is a myth, is an illusion. It is not real. Whether I come through contemplation, whether I come through bhakti, both will be the same, that complete surrender of the ego has to happen. And that's what is it. Krishnarpita pranaha tat purusha nishevaya. Then he goes further and he says that in this world, the path of devotion is the best of all and it is full of bliss. Sadri chino hyayam lokaha ayam loke pantha kshemo akuto bhayaha sushila sadhavo yatra narayana parayanaha. So he says here that it is full of bliss because there is no fear. Bhagwan himself is there, then what is there to be scared of? When one has that bhav that Bhagwan is always with me, then nothing to be scared, especially for those who are committed, dedicated to Bhagwan, Narayana. Narayana Parayanaha. And who walks this path? People who are sushilaha, who have good character, sadhavaha, who have good attitude, pure positive mind. They walk this path. Prayaschittani chirnani narayana parangmukham na nishpunanti rajendra sura kumbha mivapagaha. Now he says that all types of different atonements, prayaschittani chirnani, all different types of atonements which are done, they will fail to purify a person who has turned away from Bhagwan. Narayana Parang Mukham. Parang means outside, meaning away. Pratyak means inside. Bhagwan is in our heart, one who has turned within, one who serves all as the form of Bhagwan, is Narayana Parayana. Narayana Parang Mukham is, one may do atonement but doesn't believe in Bhagwan, that has not surrendered to Bhagwan. So Shukdev ji is saying, even if that person does atonement, it will not purify the mind of that person. Like how any number of rivers you can take the jar of wine and wash it, it will still remain wine jar only. Na nishpunanti Rajendra Sura Kumbham Ivapagaha. Sura Kumbham. It is like that. Because inherently it is wine is inside. You can keep washing it. What will happen? Nothing will happen. It is still wine pot only. Inside the ego is very strong. Which God? What God? I don't believe in any God. Okay. Then what do you believe? Only what I see, only my ego. Then Papa will definitely happen. And even if that person does prayachita of that, again will go and repent. Again will go and repeat. That's the importance of surrender. If surrender is not there, atonement will be very limited. And you know what happens in this? After a point in time, one will even stop doing the atonement. Because one says, what is the point? My mind is anyway wanting to do this. It will justify and do and normalize the papa karma. Like how today alcohol has got very normalized. So many people know what is the harm it will cause, what is the hurt it will cause, pain it will cause at the body level. Everything one knows. Emotional challenges, difficulties, violence in relationships, accidents. Oh, so much. One doesn't even consider that as sin anymore. Forget doing prayaschitta for it. The Smritis to go to the extent of saying that Surapan, there is no prayaschitta only for it. Especially we are talking about a sadhak. Some asura and all are drinking that, or some devata is drinking because they want to enjoy. They will exhaust their punya karma again, kshina punya martya lokam vishanti. But it will have its own consequences also. So one normalizes it. So after a point, if surrender is not there, then what happens? Even the wrong will appear as right. It becomes normalized. Telling lies will become normalized. Violence will become normalized. Drinking is normalized. All the vices will get normalized. And that's why he says here that no amount of atonements can purify that person who has turned away from Bhagwan. And once also, if they have turned, he says here that Sukrin Manaha Krishna Padaravinda Yoho Niveshitam Tad Guna Ragi Yairiha. Even once, if they have done Sakrit, just once, what? They have turned to Bhagwan, their life is fixed on the lotus feet of Bhagwan, and they have developed some attachments or some interest. Gunarati is the word, Gunaragi is the word used. They admire the qualities of Bhagwan. Even once, if they have surrendered to Bhagwan, they feel the bhavana for Bhagwan. Then he says, even in the dream, Yama, who's carrying a noose, na te yamam pashabhritah, who carries the noose, and his dutas, tad bhatan, swapnepi, even in dream, they will not have darshan of Yama. Pashyantihi chirna nishkritaha, because they have actually done that real atonement, which is what surrendered the ego. Even once, if the mind has fixed, meaning this is the glory of bhakti and encouraging us to surrender. It's not that, okay, only once I have to surrender and after that I can do anything. On the taste one we get, when we get, oh, this is so beautiful that I surrender to Bhagwan, I forget my ego and I live with the sense of oneness and bhakti, sadhana, seva, and the mind is so peaceful, happy. Then the mind does not want to go to the wrong ways and do the sin and then atone for it. Because one has tasted the joy of Sharanagati, Brahmananda, of the bhakti. If one enjoys that, bas, even once, then one will not see Yama even in dream, in his dutas, even in dream. Now, this is the principle that he has mentioned. Now he gives that with an example. This portion, as of now, till what we have done, is to glorify bhakti, sharanagati, and say that by itself prayaschitta as a karma is not enough. One should surrender completely, whether through knowledge or through path of bhakti. Ego has to be surrendered. Now the famous example comes of Ajamila. So Pura, one ancient legend is what Shukdev ji explains, where there's a conversation between the Dutas of Yamaraj and Vishnu Bhagwan. So he says, Karnya Kubje Dvija Kaschid Asit Pati Ajamilaha Namna Nashta Sadacharo Dasya Samsarga Dushitaha. So in this place called Karnya Kubja, which is modern day Kannauj, Kannauj was supposed to be the perfume capital of the whole Bharat. Distilleries and so many things were there in Kannauj where they used to create aroma, scent, perfumes, all that. What do you call that? Exotic type of fragrances. Kannauj was famous for that. And in that Karnya Kubja, there used to be a Brahmana, and his name was Ajamila. Now, here it is written that he had kept one dasi, and Kaschid dasi patihi Ajamilaha. And this Ajamila, he was a Brahmana and he had kept a maid servant. And what happened? So it is said, the backstory of this is this Ajamil, who was a Brahmana, he was a very sattvic Brahman actually. And he was following his sandhya and doing his sadhana, etc., and living nicely. Now, one day he goes by the forest and he sees one prostitute in some sensual act with somebody. And his mind is overwhelmed by lust and he is not able to control. So he goes to that prostitute and brings her home, marries her, brings her home. Now, what happened actually there? He just saw with his eyes. So, first lesson to learn is karma enters through the eyes or ears first. Even if one hears something vulgar, it will create karma. Then one sees. डोंगरे महाराज says very nicely there that जिसकी आंख दूषित हो गई उसका मन दूषित हो जाएगा, उसका नाम दूषित हो जाएगा. Meaning, one whose eye is polluted, the mind will be polluted, and that name of that person will be polluted after that. How? Because that person will end up doing some sin. That's why sense control very important. And you see examples are so many. Ravan. First, that Shurpanakha, Akampan actually tells. Valmiki Ramayana, if you see, Akampan goes and tells, Bhagwan Ram has killed this 14,000 asuras in Janasthan. Khar and Dushan and this 14,000 asuras, and Akampan escapes from there and he tells Ravan that here is in this forest there are these two young princes and this most beautiful woman is there and she should be with you, and Ravan doesn't pay much heed. Then Shurpanakha comes and Shurpanakha tells. Even then Ravan doesn't pay heed. Then Shurpanakha actually instigates him. Then it has gone into his head. So first he heard. Then he goes and he sees Sita ji gone. So karma enters sometimes through the ears. Then when one sees, then that will bring the downfall. Now you see Ravan. His whole downfall happened. His army got destroyed. Lanka got burnt. So many of his people and his own sons were killed. Why did that happen? Because he allowed karma to enter the mind. So this Ajamil also is like that. He allowed the lust to enter his mind and then he lost control. Kam avesha it becomes. So finally he went to that Vaishya's house and followed her, went to the house, got her, married her, brought her to the house. Now it is said, and that's why in brief this is given here. The elaboration, what I explained, is given by different commentators. Here it is only said that lived a certain Brahmana, Ajamila by name, who had kept a maid servant and polluted by intercourse with that Shudra woman had cast to the winds all pious conduct. So he had fallen from his Satkarma, Brahman karma, Sattvic lifestyle. Now he has fallen because Kam Avesh. And now what is he doing? All this, Bandhak. So what he is doing now? He is doing robbery, gambling, cheating, theft, and maintaining his family. This is his situation as of now. Meanwhile, what has happened? Little more backstory of his is now he has brought this Vaishya to her house, and one day some sadhus come to the house seeking bhiksha. So this woman, she goes and serves some food. Out of compassion, they eat the food. And this Brahmana, he does not even greet them. He doesn't even welcome them. Otherwise, Brahmana should actually do that. Sadhus and sannyasis, they have come and welcome them, do the satkar, offer them bhiksha, all that. None of that he did. This woman, she did. And this man doesn't even come and greet. Now, finally, all the bhiksha is over. So the sadhus are happy, they thank her, Annadata, Sukhi Bhava, and all that, and then they are waiting. So this Brahmana, he asks Ajamil, what do you want? He says, you have given bhiksha, please offer some dakshina because that's the duty, that's the dharma of a grahastha. Because grahasthi will support the sadhu sannyasi in through food, etc. And those who are capable will also give certain dakshina. Dan, dakshina, whatever you call it. Dakshina is actually given when a particular ritual is done, and as a in exchange of that, a fee is given or a dakshina is given. This is actually a dan. This is charity. So this Ajamil says, first of all, I don't have faith in any of you sadhus. You be grateful that I have not looted you, I have not taken anything from you. Because he is living a life of all this, looting, gambling, robbery, cheating, theft. He is doing all that. So he says, you be grateful that I have not looted you. And anyway, I will not give any money or any wealth. Ask anything else if you want. So the sadhus, they say that okay, do one thing. Now he had a child which was born. So the sadhu said, this new baby, this new child who is born, the youngest child, name him Narayana. So Ajamil asks, but what is the benefit of me naming my child Narayana? How does it benefit you? Look at the reply they give. They say that you will take the name of my Lord. That is good for you. And when you take the name of Bhagavan, we will get to hear it. They are not going to get to hear it all the time. They are not there for a long time. They are just there for a short while. They are going to pass, but they think for the good of this person. That is sadhutva. He was disrespecting them, not offering any dakshina, and also telling them very clearly, ki, be grateful, I am not looting you. But they don't have malice in their heart. They are pure in their mind. They are thinking only of the good of this person also. So Ajamil says, okay, I am happy to name my child Narayana, as you say. So he starts calling him as Narayana. Now the sadhus, they leave. Now this person is very attached to his child, youngest child, and this Brahmana has become old. And he is not yet time to die. 12 years are still remaining, but he is already some around 88 years old or something. And he was, like it said here, very, very attached. He used to even kill some of the uh, living beings. Very violent also he was, but now very attached to his son, this child. So they had many children, but this specific one child, this youngest child, Narayana, he was very attached to that. So he had 10 sons. That's what here it is said. Tasya pravayasa putraha dasha tesham tu yo avamaha balo narayano namna pitroscha daito bhrasham. So he was very attached to this child, Narayana, and because he was the youngest. Now, what would he do? So it is said here that he will hold him very tightly to his heart, and even though the child is lisping, he would be listening. For him, the words of the child, they sound so sweet, and child's play, he used to love this old man. He used to love the child playing. He would feed the child while he himself is having meals or eating anything, give it water to drink while he himself is drinking, and very, very attached. He did not realize that Yamadutas have come now, because he very attached in playing with his child. At that point in time, uh, these Yamadutas have come. He has become sick now. He is lying down, and Yamadutas have come. And what does he see? Sa evam vartamanogno mrityukala upasthite matim chakara tanaye bale narayan ahvaye. So three dutas, when he saw, very terrible form they had. And he gets very scared because pasha hastan trin drishtva purushan brishadarunan. So holding this news, these three of them have come with very weird face and vakratundan urdhva remna atmanam netu magatan. So hair is standing on the end, nose is in the hand, very weird face they have. They have come to take this Ajamila. Now he got very disturbed and scared, and his child was playing little further. He was maybe lying down and watching the child and taking delight in the child's play. And suddenly he saw, "Ore, three Yamadutas have come," and he was disturbed. So, Dure Kridana Kasaktam, Putram Narayan Ahvayam. He called out, "Narayana." Loudly he called out his son, Narayana. Because son was a little far away playing. So he called out loudly and in a long tone, loud voice and pitch, he said, "Narayana, Narayana." He called. So then what happened at that point in time? The moment he uttered Narayana, then the Dutas of Bhagwan Narayana, they came there. Because they said, "Hare, our master is being called, we are his Dutas, now we have to go." Like Yamaraj sent his Yamadutas, this Vishnu Bhagwan's Dutas, they came there. Suddenly they came there. Um, Bhartur Nama Maharaja Parshada Sahasa Apatan. Now, when they came there, they forced the servants of Yamraj. They say, "No, no, you can't take this jiva from here now," because they were going to take Ajamila. So, this Ajamil has that lady, his wife, his children, all that attachment is there in his heart. He has actually not thought of Bhagwan Vishnu, but just the word Narayana, the name of Narayana, he said, and the Dutas came and they stopped Yamraj, saying, "No, no, he has taken the name of Bhagwan, you can't take him." And so the Yamaduta say, "But who are you? Why are you forbidding us? We are only doing our duty." And Yamraj is the deity of Dharma, and we have to take this Jiva. Who are you? Whose representative are you? From where have you come? And why do you stop us from taking this Jiva away? Are you some Devatas, demigods, some Siddhas? Who are you? The Dutas of Bhagavan Vishnu, they will look like Bhagavan Vishnu only. But so many have come na, in that same form. Now these Yamadutas are confused. Ki, who are these? How three of them are like this now? So, with eyes resembling the petals of a lotus clad in yellow silk, you are adorned with a diadem, a pair of earrings, and a shining wreath of lotuses. All these are marks of Bhagavan Vishnu. Then you are in the bloom of youth, possessed of four lovely arms, graced with a bow, quiver, sword, mace, conch, discus, lotus, driving away the darkness of the quarters and overshadowing all the material things by your splendor. Why do you hinder us, the servants of Yamraj? So now that's the question that they have asked. What happens to those dutas? What do the Yamraj dutas? What do Vishnu Bhagwan's dutas reply? That we take up in our next class. Think about the episode of Ajamila. We will also see the symbolism of that. What is the meaning of Ajamila? Who is Ajamila? And there are so many implications of this story. We are still in the midst of the story. Half only is over, half is still remaining. But even the half that we have done, think about it and we take up in our next satsang. Any questions for today? This one. Okay, yes.
Pranam Swamiji. Swamiji, I had a question that once anybody even born of a sin from a sinful womb, like a prostitute, but once you tread the path of reform, mm, it kind of that's your um, I don't know how to express it, but once you're on the way to reform, it doesn't matter where you what you did earlier. So I couldn't really understand that this lady who was serving the saints, and but she was still or I didn't get that whole part properly.
So she was a prostitute. This is not about her at all. No, we didn't discuss anything about her actually. She was a prostitute. She has done a lot of sins, but this man has brought her home and married her, and he is very attached to her, and he continues. And he has fallen in her company. He has fallen. So he does all kinds of looting, murdering, plundering, killing, and the wife's duty is to stop the husband from doing that. But she is not stopping him. He is also not stopping. Both of them are leading a impious life. Luckily, at that point in time, some Purva Janma Samskar that she fed those sadhus. This man was not even wanting to do that. So it is not that she has reformed. Where is she on the path of transformation? That is not said anywhere in Bhagavatam, nor is she behaving like that. If she was like that, then she would have prevented the husband from doing the wrong things.
Okay, thank you, Swami.
मंगल आरती प्रिया प्रीतम की, मंगल प्रीति रीति धूम की, मंगल कांति हसनी दसनन की, मंगल मुरली दीना धुन की, मंगल आरती। मंगल बणिक त्रिभंगी हरि की, मंगल सेवा सब सहचर की, मंगल सिर चंद्रिका मुकुट की, मंगल छवि नयन में अटकी, मंगल आरती। पभी अंग अंग की, मंगल गौर श्याम रंग की, मंगल अति कटि पियरे पट की, मंगल चितमणि नागर नट की, मंगल आरती। मंगल शोभा कमल नयन की, मंगल माधुरी मृदुल पैन की, मंगल वृंदावन मद अटकी, मंगल क्रीडन जमुना तट की, मंगल आरती। मंगल चरण अरुण तरुवन की, मंगल करणी भगति हरिजन की, मंगल जुगल प्रिया बावन की, मंगल श्री राधा जीवन की, मंगल आरती प्रिया प्रीतम की, मंगल प्रीति रीति डोल की, मंगल आरती। मंगल आरती। राधावर कृष्णचंद्र भगवान की जय। ओम न तत्र सूर्यो भाति न चंद्र तारकम्, नेमा विद्युतो भान्ति कुतोऽयम् अग्निः, तमेव भान्तमनुभाति सर्वं, तस्य भासा सर्वमिदं विभाति। सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की।
ओम Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. There's one more question. What was Ajamir's character before he saw the prostitute? As we said, no, he was a Brahmana, he was doing his karmas, he was a nice sattvic person. But once he saw, then karma entered his mind and then he fell. Okay, Hari Om.